This week we're going to read a difficult parasha, Parshat Ki Tavo, which amongst other things contains the tochacha, the klalot, the curses that will come upon the people if they don't observe the Torah. And amongst the curses that are told, that we read, that we're shocked when we read, it says that this will all happen to you because you didn't lo avadat et Hashem b'simcha. You didn't serve God in joy. Now, that's a very difficult verse to understand. If I perform a mitzvah and I don't do it joyfully, does that mean to say I haven't performed a mitzvah? I've still performed the mitzvah. Where does it say you have to perform the mitzvah in joy? So there are certain explanations that say we're not talking about a specific mitzvah, specific commandment, but if you consider that the whole of the Torah is a burden, then you deserve to be punished. That's an explanation that is said in the name of Reb Chaim Volozhiner. We're not talking about actually not doing a mitzvah, but the whole attitude to all our mitzvot is that they're a terrible burden. But then there's another explanation. Tachat ashelo avadat et Hashem Elokecha b'simcha v'tuv lev, you haven't served God with joy and good heart. It means as follows. If you don't serve God b'simcha, then eventually you will stop serving Him at all. If you commit and do and carry out and practice the mitzvot, but you're so upset and it's a burden to you, then eventually you will stop carrying out the mitzvot. If you do all the mitzvot, but you show yourself and others how difficult it is, then eventually either you or the next generation, your children or your grandchildren, will stop keeping the mitzvot. And for that, you have to be punished. There's a most famous story that Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, the great halachic authority in the United States, met a son of one of his Hasidim, one of his pupils, one of his friends. Moshe Feinstein had this Jew who was a friend of his who consulted him. We're talking about 50, 60 years ago. It was very, very difficult to keep Shabbat, but this Jew was a Jew who would always keep Shabbat, notwithstanding that sometimes he would lose his job because he didn't come to work on the Sabbath day. But he was particular, came to all the prayer services, all the davenings, all the tefillot, this Jew. And suddenly, after a long time, Moshe Feinstein meets the son of this Jew, who was a Torah-observant Jew, and he sees that the son, without a yarmulke, not practicing, doesn't look like a practicing Jew at all. He's never seen him in shul, never seen him in the synagogue, and he says to him, I don't understand, your father was so meticulous and so particular and so medactic. Why do we never see you? Why don't you ever come to shul? Not on Shabbos, not on Yom Tov, not on Yom Kippur, nothing. Says the son to Reb Moshe Feinstein, you know, you're right. My dad, he said, always kept Shabbos. And it was at a great, great sacrifice. Often on Sunday morning, he came into his boss and the boss said, you're fired, you didn't turn up yesterday. But he always kept Shabbos, never gave up on it. But you know, when he came home and he sat down, he was so tired. He used to say to us in Yiddish, it's schwer zu sein a Yid. It's hard to be a Jew. And as I grew up and I saw the great sufferings of my father, and I heard him constantly reiterate this saying, es schwer zu sein a Yid. I decided if it's so hard, I'm not going to do it. So this is what the Torah says. V'samachta b'chol atov. Be happy always with what you do. If you're happy, you'll continue to do it. If you're happy with what you'll do, your children will continue to do it. And you will have a nachas for your children and grandchildren. So let us learn the lesson of not complaining, because our complaints will affect others, but to always show our joy and happiness in the privilege of being able to fulfill the commandments of the Torah. Shabbat Shalom.
Moment of Wisdom. Sub-brief and life-changing moments. Join us. Subscribe to Moment of Wisdom channels on YouTube, Telegram, Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp.